What's going on, you guys? This is your boy RBG, aka The Random Black Gamer, bringing you a video on Insomniac games. I would say it's another Marvel Spider-Man 2 related video, but this right here relates to Insomniac at large because there have been some nefarious acts going on. And to be quite honest with you guys, I wasn't planning on covering this because, for one, you guys really don't watch any of my Spider-Man related videos anymore. But hey, I'll just go ahead and give my take on it because there have been some things that have been said by the diametrically opposed out there who believe for whatever reason that this is a good thing, that this is happening to Insomniac. I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of this, but if you aren't, Insomniac's data got released. Yeah, after being digitally extorted to pay $2 million, which Sony happily declined, over 5 years of Insomniac games release window, and Wolverine's footage got hacked, which had Twitter blazing for 48 hours. Like, I'm pretty sure we still haven't reached the aftermath of this. Like, people are still talking about it, and there's been this ongoing debate on Insomniac just being dependent on Marvel related properties, because let's be honest, like, the biggest thing that they've been producing so far have been Spider-Man games, and it seems like they are expanding more into that comic book superhero genre, with Wolverine being the next chapter in their Earth 1048 universe. And I'm just gonna say it now, if you came to hear my thoughts on those said leaks, then you're gonna be out of luck. I'm pretty sure I'm not saying something that hasn't already been said about these things, and I don't want to ruin it for people who have been trying their best to avoid any of the new surprises that Insomniac has in store for them. Not to mention that some of the things that they did show off, I'm pretty sure it's not really set in stone just yet. There's always going to be that possibility that something may never leave the cutting room floor. So if you're gonna follow those leaks, then you should at least take it with a small pinch of salt. But yeah, for the past few months, Insomniac Games has been in this very peculiar place. It started off where people were very excited about Marvel Spider-Man 2. Like, they were buzzing about it. They wanted to know how they were going to top the first entry. Not necessarily Miles Morales, since people consider that a glorified DLC. I honestly think it's a good game. It's a very good filler arc to get us ready for the next installment. But yeah, it's the first game that people were ready to see if Marvel Spider-Man 2 was going to top that or not. And for the most part, I feel like they delivered a solid sequel. I won't say it's the best Spider-Man game. I still feel like that first entry is in a league of its own because it had this major impact behind it, because for the longest time we were dealing with these third-party companies like Activision just pimping out the Spider-Man brand and doling out all these uninspired and unfinished Spider-Man games. But Insomniac Games took it to a whole nother level, and now it's gonna be a while before they get that Empire Strikes Back Spider-Man title that supersedes its predecessor in every way. Although I enjoyed my time with Marvel Spider-Man 2, I couldn't help but feel like Insomniac Games played it relatively safe. There were a few new things that I appreciated them adding, but overall the game just didn't feel that challenging to me, if that makes any sense. But make no mistake, it is a solid game and it's very much deserving of its accolades. Speaking of which, we got to talk about the elephant in the room, and that's the fact that Marvel Spider-Man 2 took home nothing for this year's Game Awards. And this right here is when the floodgates opened for criticism towards this game. Like, out of nowhere, everybody had something to say about it. Like, it's the worst game ever in existence. It's overhyped. It's been accused of being woke and saying that the MJ segments really hurt it, and Miles Morales was being pushed to be the superior Spider-Man to Peter Parker. All these different things, they just started coming out of the woodworks after the Game Awards debacle. And I'm just like, man, it seems like the internet has really empowered people to just say ridiculous things. You know, I'm all for somebody giving their opinion, but some things just seem a bit outlandish and a big reach. And now we're here watching Insomniac Games getting hacked, which had to be a crushing blow to their enthusiasm. I'm pretty sure they were super excited to do this epic rollout for everything that they had planned for us, but now that big exciting reveal has been squandered by these evil zealots that had nothing better to do with their time. And you have these idiots out here judging the leaked footage that was released for Wolverine. And I'm not gonna just go into detail, like I said, guys. I'm not gonna talk about what was shown off with these leaked gameplay clips. I'm just gonna say that it's a bit unfortunate that it has to be this way. Like, you're essentially looking at something that has been undercooked and underdeveloped and deeming it trash as if that's the final version of the product. Like, do you even understand what pre-alpha footage is? You should know damn well that what we saw isn't going to be indicative of what we'll see in getting the final version of this game. Grand Theft Auto 6 instantly comes to mind, where they got this leaked gameplay footage and they instantly said that, hey, this right here looks trash, and if this is what we have to look forward to, then I'm not going to buy the game, only to see that big reveal trailer that's been breaking all kinds of astounding records and say that, oh yeah, this looks totally different from what we saw in those leaks. If you don't think that Marvel's Wolverine is going to share a similar story to that, then you're sorely mistaken. I have no doubt that Insomniac is trying to cook up a formula that worked for this specific character, similar to how they did for Spider-Man. Because what was the biggest thing we were concerned about after getting the announcement that they were working on a Spider-Man title? We were concerned about the web swinging mechanics. And it's obvious that Insomniac spent a lot of time in the basement trying to figure out what works and what doesn't when it comes to that. Like when you look at this early footage of the web swinging, it looks rough, but that's what trial and error looks like, people. Not everything is going to start off perfect. You have to start from somewhere and actually work your way up till it reaches that level of perfection. That's what art is, taking your time and showing the art once it's complete. But unfortunately, Insomniac didn't get the luxury of doing that, and now the floodgate of criticisms has officially been opened. And as I mentioned earlier, one of the biggest criticisms that Insomniac has been facing is that they've been overly reliant on Marvel properties. People have been saying that they could come up with original ideas as opposed to just depending on superhero games such as Spider-Man and Wolverine. And to some extent, I agree, but for the most part, I disagree, because simply developing a Marvel or DC game doesn't guarantee that it's going to be an instant success. That's all going to boil down to what the fans want, and I feel like there's a high demand for these types of games. I will say this time and time again, now that fans see that these properties can be developed on such a high AAA level, they want to see that potential actually be realized. Like outside of the Arkham games and the Spider-Man games, what other superhero property have we seen that with? There are a lot of properties that could use that treatment, and I feel like Insomniac is just one of those studios that's risen to that challenge. And there are other variables that factor into this too. Like David Jaffe, the creator of God of War, released a video talking about it in detail on what he think it could be that makes Insomniac want to produce these type of games. And I'm going to play this video for you guys because he does raise an interesting point here.
It's insane how much money Marvel gets. Just make your own new IP. Why make this licensed Marvel? Make new stuff. What a waste of money to pay them. Okay, in principle, sure. I mean, even though I'm a huge Marvel fan and I love the Marvel games from Insomniac, yeah, in principle, sure. But honestly, this is the answer right here. Because their original property, which is just as good as these games, and in some ways better, but I mean, it's a totally different kind of experience for the most part. When they do something original, and Ratchet ain't even original, right? Ratchet, I mean, it's original for Sony, but I mean, it's been around for a long time. It's not a new IP. When they, you know, you would think that would be a little bit of help, but they can't even, you know, break even because here, you know, the return on investment, that's why. 75% Spidey, 35-40 Wolverine, 122% return on their investment for Miles Morales. You know, and even hell, even the remaster, the Spider-Man remaster made 48% return on investment. So this is why.
So as you hear, David basically says that producing Marvel games has a higher profit margin than producing some of the original IPs. They see good returns on investments after spending a buttload of money to produce these titles. But unfortunately, the same can't be said for their original properties such as Ratchet and Clank, which don't break even given the modest amount of money they put into them. And his main argument is that those type of properties are a bit dated in today's standard. And I agree to some extent, but I also feel like he's kind of leaving out other variables such as the lack of PlayStation 5 units. We all know that scalping played a big part in a lot of people not being able to acquire the actual system, and that in return caused the sales to the actual video games to be lower than they were in previous years. Like for example, when I first looked at this chart and I saw that Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales had a higher return on investments compared to Marvel Spider-Man 2, I had to take into consideration two big things, right? That this game was following the success of the first entry and people were very much hyped to see what it was going to be about, and also the fact that it was available on not only the PlayStation 5 but the PlayStation 4. It was a cross-gen title, and I'm pretty sure the bulk of those actual sales were on the PlayStation 4. And I'm gonna go ahead and just throw it out there now. If Marvel Spider-Man 2 had been a cross-gen title, it would have seen a similar, if not higher, return on investments than that of Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. But we already know there are a lot of technological advancements that played a part in that. There's just so many things the PS5 can do that the PS4 simply can't. So yeah guys, take those things into consideration here. Insomniac is a very talented development studio, and they have other properties that I'm pretty sure they're gonna roll out. It's funny that people mention Ratchet being one of their lowest selling properties, but if you ask me, that title belongs to the underrated Sunset Overdrive. As we know, it was on the Xbox One, and I can't help but feel like it would have sold a lot more units if it was developed on the PlayStation 4. But we're not gonna dive deep into that big argument. I just find it funny that whenever we do get a Marvel related game that isn't developed by Insomniac, people say that they should have developed the game. But now we have that same group of people saying that Insomniac is relying on the Marvel property too much. Come on now, you're gonna have to pick a side. Where do you want to stand on this? And I also want to remind the people that this is just Insomniac, guys. There are multiple teams that Sony has under their umbrella that are developing different PlayStation games that are original and are selling just as much as Marvel Spider-Man. So what are we even talking about? But anyways, guys, once again, I think it's unfortunate that Insomniac is having to go through this. As of the day of me recording this video, Insomniac still hasn't addressed this. So hopefully they have something planned where they can kind of bounce back and get back to cooking up an awesome game that we're going to be playing in the near future. But anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video because I always have a blast making these things for you. If there's anything that you want to add to this, leave it in the comment section below, and I promise I will get back to you. As always, I'd appreciate it if you leave a like or dislike. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up, it can be a thumbs down. But if you really enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it a lot if you shared it on all the different social media outlets with your friends and family members. Sharing really makes a difference. But once again, this is your boy RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.